so profound that it's mind-blowing. Do you understand that when you got, well, I don't know if you got the shot, when someone got the shot, they didn't get it from Pfizer or Moderna. They got it from the DOD. The DOD distributed this. The contract with our federal government requires that to distribute this, the DOD had to ensure that there was absolute immunity. So before we could, if you want to sue someone right now, you're going to have to sue the DOD. Good luck. If you get through them by proving intentionality, which is very difficult without the data, which they continue to hide, this is why I'm encyclopedic in my knowledge of what occurred, because I've been trying to figure out how to sue these guys, and I have to get the data to prove the intentionality. I will tell you that I think there's a number of claims. I've looked at a RICO claim, which I think I could credibly make. I'll tell you that that claim would cost me $5 to $8 million, my cost to litigate. I don't have $5 to $8 million. And if I didn't have $5 to $8 million, I'd risk sanctions because I'd be bringing a case that I couldn't manage. So there are mechanisms moving forward. Now, before we get to how to get around this, because, I mean, realistically, if the vaccines are safe and effective, why do they need liability shield? I mean, why do we need 50 layers of liability for something that was so safe and so effective? Why is it that we passed law after law after law way before this whole COVID thing was going down to ensure that this sort of liability protection might be in place? And I'm going to answer this because I want to bring something up that hasn't been touched on here. So we have the case in New York. I developed the case. It's against EcoHealth Alliance for the creation of SARS-CoV-2 in the Wuhan lab. That case alleges that EcoHealth Alliance worked with the CCP in the Wuhan lab and created, well, this nightmare that we've had. Let me ask you something. Does anybody in this room believe that we could transfer the technology necessary to do that sort of genetic engineering, that sort of bioweapon development? And I say bioweapon because, remember, dual-use research, under the law, bioweapon, gain of function, two sides of the same coin. Does anybody believe that we transferred that sort of technology to a CCP lab without an okay from the DOD or CIA? I got news for you. They knew exactly what was going on. We have a ton of evidence on this. I'm going to tell you further. I have right here in front of me from a report that we sent to a couple of people here in Congress before the 2022 election. It got about as much response as you guys are getting. That there was a study. Dr. Malone could probably comment on this better than I can, but that study showed that there was a 12 nucleotide sequence that they found in a Moderna patent, which was a perfect reverse match to what we have in SARS-CoV-2. That patent was filed in 2016. Thanks, David Martin, for a lot of his patent research. But the thing that I want to tell you about, according to our case and the data and evidence that we've submitted, we believe that this disease was actually developed in the mid-2010s-ish. We don't have a hard date, but around there. We hope that with discovery we'll get a more specific date. Now, I want to share something else, and this is speculative, and I was very hesitant to bring this forth, but I'm going to tell you because I have to keep the individual who gave me this data anonymous to protect them. So I have, and if we can put it up, I want to show you what I've got. This is a declaration from me signing because I cannot have this whistleblower's name anywhere. I witnessed this whistleblower do this. I have a separate declaration which I will not make public. The whistleblower has brought forth to me, and I'm using whistleblower in a general term, but I have the military records, military medical records from this individual. And they were obtained through a court proceeding. I can't say any more than that, but I will tell you that I will testify under oath. I'll put my hand on a Bible and put my license at risk, saying that I can confirm that I've done my due diligence on this, as I would to present this to the court. Now, it would be challenged under the rules of evidence, I'm sure, but I want to share this, and I'm only sharing this so that you, with subpoena power, can ask a question. Scroll down to the next page, please. Do you see what that says? That blacked out page, which we had to black out because of the fact that it was personally identifiable medical information and also would have put the person at risk. Do you see the date there? November 14th at Irwin ACH, Fort Riley, Kansas, COVID-19 immunization, Moderna. Five different instances. And following this page, you'll see 5 different instances where this person's medical record, you see at the very top, 2014, at Irwin ACH, Fort Riley, Kansas, COVID-19 immunization by Moderna. Now, I'm not suggesting, well, I guess I am suggesting, that maybe we should ask why it is that this soldier was apparently seen 5 times in 2014 for COVID-19 immunization. Now, I'm not going to go out and tell you that this proves that this was built 5-10 years ago or that the timeline was entirely fraud. I'm going to tell you that we ought to look into it. And if we're going to ask questions, we ought to ask real questions. Our DOD and CIA were involved with this. To what extent? How long has this been involved? This was created in a lab in one of the greatest enemies to the United States of America. I'll let you fill in some blanks on the legal implications here. The lies, and remember also, I can't FOIA the DOD. I can't FOIA the CIA. I ain't going to get anywhere with that. You know as well as I do where that's going to go. It's a really interesting thing that the same DOD who I have these records from and who seem to be implicated in numerous other aspects of this and who are willing to take the blame and sign the contracts would have had to sign off on the technology transfers necessary to do this with communist China. I want to ask the question, what's the real history of COVID? You know, the Representative Davidson asked earlier about Operation Warp Speed. Well, maybe that timeline wasn't true. I don't know. I'm not a scientist and cannot say anything other than this is the evidence I have, and this is one small part of it. It's interesting going back over the questions that were asked. You mentioned shedding earlier. Someone asked about shedding. I can show you Pfizer documents where they talk about shedding. I can not only show you Pfizer documents where they talk about shedding, I can show you that in the Comirnaty approval, they agreed to do a study, and the study protocol was based on oncolytic gene products for gene therapy, something, shedding. Okay? They admit their study, you don't run a multi-million-dollar study unless there's a reason for it.